I'm sorry. I'm done with this whole bullshit, okay? It's so made up. Dude. It is money is the most made up thing. Money throughout the history of mankind, money has never been as made up as it is right now. Okay? $2.5 trillion in value wiped out overnight, and your day is the same. Anyway, you know what else is messed up? The economy. You know what else is also messed up on top of the economy? The fact that gamers are not going to be able to get their treats, specifically Nintendo. Everything's computer, everything's Nintendo. That's right. Switch 2 pre-orders are delayed in the United States amidst the new Trump tariffs. Let's take a look.
Very quick and disappointing update for you lovely people. As reported by The Verge, Nintendo has halted Switch 2 in the United States. The original plan was that it would start on the 9th of April, but that is not the case anymore. There is no new date at the time of recording. Nintendo have simply stated that they will update the timing at a later date. However, the launch date of the 5th of June has not changed. The reasoning for this is to assess the potential impact of tariffs and evolving market conditions. If you need me to spell it out any more clearly than that,
It's Trump. It's because of Trump. It's directly Trump. And it's so undeniably Donald Trump's insane actions that, like, gamers cannot even point the finger at Brandon, which is the saddest part of this. Because normally, at the very least, you could be like, oh, this is somehow Brandon's fault. But if you're a reactionary gamer right now who wants to, like, play the new Nintendo Switch stuff, and I assume many reactionary gamers don't even play Nintendo stuff because, like, it's baby games and they're big burly men and they look to what the latest Nintendo releases are so they can just be like, this is for girls. And it's like, yeah, it is. Why are you commenting on this? But that's besides the point. I'm sure there are some right-wing gamers out there that are like, oh, you don't need it. You want it. Exactly. So for me, I'm a Steam Deck boy anyway. And would you say it's safe to visit America right now? British Muslim woman? I don't know. I don't want to say anything. But yeah, for all the Christian gamers out there that want to play family-friendly games and stuff, get wrecked. You're not going to be able to do that. And it is directly because of the null day. Okay? It is directly because of the Don. JD Pond Don said, no more treats. JD Pond Don said, permanent first world genocide. The suburbs will cry tears of blood. He said he is going to disrupt the commodity production piece by piece and rebuild it in the most spectacular fashion. He's going to do it all. That's my GOAT. That's my king. No more games, no more treats, ladies and gentlemen.
In response to the recent tariffs that have been put in place by the US government. What this boils down to is because of these recent tariffs, the Nintendo Switch 2 may not launch at the previously listed price of $449.99. Nintendo had also previously announced that the Switch 2 would be able to pre-order from their own website starting on the 8th has been affected or not. We'll have a full list of sources in the description down below if you want to read more into this. For now though, I'll leave.
Yeah, JD Pond Don, degrowth Don. You don't need the treats. You treat Larites Don. He is Maoist. He's a Maoist third worldist, and that's what it is. He said, no more free trade. Free trade is not so free. After all, it's called unequal exchange. And that's right. For far too long, we have toiled. We have exploited the global south. We will put an end to this. We will exploit our own labor class instead. No more labor aristocracy. The American soil will be toiled by the peasantry. That's right. I'm bringing the peasants back. I looked at all the countries with peasants and I saw they've done wonderful things. I love my big, beautiful peasants.
Leave you to it. Cheers.
Yeah, political power grows out of the barrel of a tariff. Never forget, the suburbs surround the cities. Not the rural areas, but the rural land, but the suburbs instead, and exurbs too. Donald Trump is a But Maoist treat Lorite.
To begin with.
All right. Companies are seeing impacts on the stock market plunge after the tariffs announcement, of course. Welcome to DC. Our food is better than LA's food. That is an insane statement. I have been to DC. DC, I feel like, is notorious for having... what? DC is notorious for having all of the major cities. That's crazy. Like, you could say that about Chicago, right? Chicago, higher density of Michelin star restaurants than Los Angeles. You could say that about New York. That's competitive. But it's crazy it's just funny to think like DC has any stay here, any say in like the food game. All right,
With fallout from President Trump's trade war, his tariffs sent shockwaves through the market. Stocks had their biggest one-day loss in 5 years. It's been since the pandemic. More than $3 trillion of value was wiped out. The worst one-day losses for the S&P and 500 and the NASDAQ since 2020, because concerns are growing about the impact on businesses and consumers. Trevor Alt is on Wall Street with the latest. Good morning, Trevor.
Good morning, George. And this harsh drop in the markets is only fueling fears of a potential recession. JP Morgan analysts have now updated their chance of a recession this year to 60%, meaning they think it's more likely than not. And we have seen stocks get heavily slashed since these tariffs were made official, and it seems like the bleeding may not stop anytime soon.
Please, Mr. President, the bleeding is too much. I will say you will keep bleeding. You'll say, Mr. President, please, no more winning. I'll say, no, we're gonna keep winning.
This morning, the widespread fallout from President Trump's sweeping tariffs. The stock market losing $2.5 trillion in value Thursday.
Bro, by the way, look, I'm not one of these like anarchist style lefties.
Tariffs.
Okay.
The stock market.
But money is so fake. I'm sorry. I'm done with this whole bullshit. Okay. It's so made up. Dude. Money is the most made up thing. Money throughout the history of mankind, money has never been as made up as it is right now. Okay. $2.5 trillion in value wiped out overnight, and your day is the same. If money was real, if this was real, people would be killing themselves. People would be literally grabbing the pitchforks to murder one another with pitchforks. And because they don't have anything else. No more commodities are being produced. It's a dead halt. Okay? It's just like, you can never convince me. You can never convince me that money is real. You will never be able to convince me that money is real. I mean, this is the other reason why I said that. Yeah, one of these men did not attend the inauguration. Okay? Elon Musk lost $11 billion. Jeff Bezos lost $15.9 billion. Mark Zuckerberg, $17.9 billion. Warren Buffett, only $2.57 billion. Okay? And it's like, I'm sorry, dude. That's just nothing. That's not real. We need to stop this. We need to stop entertaining this stuff. Okay? We need to go back to the barter system. We need to go back to the gold standard. I don't know. just something different. Okay? No, everyone's getting poorer. Everyone's getting poorer. Why do Democrats fall back on the same tired message as the situation changes and the rich get richer? Oh, not the working rich. To the many investors coming into the United States and investing massive amounts of money, my policies will never change. This is a great time to get rich, richer than ever before. Yeah. And Chuck Schumer said, and the rich get richer. And Josh Barro said, no. It's a fire sale for billionaires. What are these people smoking? Not yet, but yes. Call me Donald with the way she plunging on my stock. Nice. That's a good one. Peach jars. Yeah, I suspect that Chuck Schumer is talking about, yes, the tax cuts that are incoming, or even the fact that like this presents an opportunity for wealthy people who will now consolidate even further. Engage in even said it yet. I watched this. Yeah, I watched this earlier.
You may even get tired of winning, and you'll say, please, it's too much winning. We can't take it anymore. Mr. President, it's too much. And I'll say, we're going to win so much, you may even get tired of winning, and you'll say, please, it's too much winning.
But it's also, yo, low key, a lot of you guys in this chat, okay, are middle class, you're working a fucking job, you're not at the age where you're even like thinking about your retirement, but you're looking at your 401k and it's like bleeding, right? This also kind of goes back to the idea that I'm talking about here about money being fake, where it's like your life was already shit and now your future is shit, right? Like in the future, you suspect it'll be more shit. That's the only thing that changed. Like your life as of this moment has not gotten significantly worse. It probably will as a consequence of people's purchasing power diminishing and then companies engaging in layoffs, and which will then obviously make the situation even less manageable. All of these things are slated to happen in the future, but it's like there's not even a bank run taking place. You know what I mean? Like it's just all designed in a way where this shit is freaking fake, dude. I woke up and jacked off exactly the same as last week. Is consolidation of wealth really what's happening? I feel like there's easier ways for the president of America to do that. Yeah, I don't think that this is intentional to like make a wealth consolidation happen. I don't think he's like intentionally applying this market shock so his like buddies can come in and sweep everything else. That's just a normal part of the process, I think. As a normal part of the process, it's just what happens. But yeah, my index funds are in the bin. I'm 23 and no 401k. Is that okay? Can't do a bank run when there's no money to take out. Yeah, banks are out of money. The comments here had me really sad the other day. What is this?
One video. Something
is very wrong with America. Elderly servers in her 70s and she can hardly walk. The table next to this woman asked why she was still working, and she said she only makes $910 a month on Social Security, and she has to still work because her bills exceed $910 a month. Yeah, let's help her retire. $250,000 raised so far. Yeah, this is it, dude. This is the future. The future is like one lucky member of the peasant class, one lucky member of the peasantry will get the rest of the peasantry to raise funds so they can actually retire in a normal, with like normal finances, as opposed to a government-funded initiative that will allow everyone to have that same opportunity. It's fantastic. We can feel good about it too. Yeah, the GoFundMe-fication of social safety nets is crazy. Did they get rid of the FDIC yet, or is my money still safe in the bank? Who knows? Who knows? But yeah, things are not great, to say the least. I mean, this is the Hamas logo, okay? The New York Stock Exchange is Hamas. Donald Trump is Hamas, okay? Ironically, he did a BDS on Israel. He is doing Hamas shit. He is doing Hamas to the American stock market, the America stock market.
Losing $2.5 trillion in value Thursday.
Yeah, 6% is the latest number that we're at. As of 6 minutes ago, SPX index down almost 6%. Holy baloney. God damn. You're seemingly in a good mood today. The vibes are immaculate, brother. Yeah. I'm just doing me. I'm focusing on me shit. You know what I mean? It's just, that's part of it. You know, I'm working out. The weather is nice. I have to maintain a positive, cheerful attitude.
The worst single-day plunge since the pandemic lockdowns 5 years ago. Multinational corporations with manufacturing in Asia, like Apple, tumbling more than 9%. Dell, Best Buy, and Nike dropping around 15% or more. And now, as more tariffs are set to go into effect at midnight, many companies are already reeling.
I think there's something very funny about Donald Trump getting his experts to compile this like 200-page foreign trade barriers, estimation report, and then not using those foreign trade barriers that were calculated in the actual calculation, because the actual calculation is much simpler. Which also is a story from Washington Post. Scoop from Jeff Stein. President Trump personally selected the now widely mocked formula for determining the country's specific tariffs from a menu of options, multiple sources say. Numerous Trump aides at NEC, CEA, Commerce, USTR had 4 weeks been working, crafting country-specific tariffs that took into account a broad range of tariff and non-tariff barriers. Several sources said more sophisticated approaches had been developed. It's actually not that hard to develop a more sophisticated approach. Doing nothing would probably be a more sophisticated approach to, as opposed to what Trump did. So, like, literally, if they were just like, hey, Mr. President, how about we don't do anything? If that was the approach that he took, that would be more sophisticated. They didn't do that. They took the least sophisticated route, which is all of those trade barriers that are in that booklet are irrelevant to the calculation here. The calculation here, is entirely done by looking at the deficit, okay? Looking at the trade deficit and deciding on the arbitrary designation of how much tariffs these countries have applied to us. Oh, I'm sorry. Do you not want to purchase our F-150s because they don't fit in your fucking roads? Guess what, dude? Sucks to suck. You're not buying enough from us. Okay, Madagascar. Why are you not getting our gas cars? That's a trade deficit. That's a tariff. We've decided a trade deficit is a tariff. And that's precisely how we're going to operate going forward. Okay? Yeah, Madagascar. How about gas cars? Okay, specifically Ford, okay, or Chevy, one of them. I can't confirm precisely who authored the one Trump picked. We have suspicions. It might be ChatGPT, but it bears striking similarities to the methods previously backed publicly by Peter Navarro, as I've talked about before. Peter Navarro is the ultimate China hawk. He's Mr. Steal Your Tariffs. He's Mr. Disrupt the Global Economy. He's Mr. We need to decouple from China. And he's Trump's top guy. He's Trump's bravest soldier, most loyal soldier on this, at the forefront of this kind of activity. So Trump is doing it. He's doing the dang thing. The definitive story of Trump's whirlwind trade direction. And here's what they said. Oh, sorry. This was a scoop, not from Jeff Stein. It's from Natalie Allison, Michael Birnbaum, Kat Zacharowski, and led by Amy E. Gardner, all at the Washington Post. He's at the peak of just not giving a bleep anymore, said a White House official with knowledge of Trump's thinking. Bad news stories, doesn't give a bleep. He is going to do what he's going to do. He's going to do what he promised to do on the campaign trail. Oh, brother. Oh, brother. Oh, brother. That's not good. Not good at all, because he promised a lot of awful shit, okay? Are you surprised to see that Switch 2 pre-orders are delayed because of this? No. Why would I be surprised about that? Of course not. The random Twitter user who figured this out an hour after the announcement and you doubt it is vindicated? Absolutely. I apologize to that Twitter user. It just, I still was operating on the old boundaries and the old ways of thinking, which is that sounds entirely too simple-minded. And I'm sorry that 2 days ago, if I was looking at the situation and you were to tell me that the Trump administration is so stupid that they would create arbitrary designations that expand far beyond like trade barriers and claiming that like a VAT tax, like a value added tax, is actually a trade barrier or a functional tariff or whatever. Like, if you were to ask me that, I'd be like, yeah, those are the reasons why they're just slapping on these fake numbers. It can't be so stupid that they did this look at the trade deficit calculation and decided that that is the tariff, decided that that is considered a tariff, because it's not. It's an entirely separate thing, okay? Yeah, I would have said that's too stupid for the Trump administration. And boy, was I wrong. And I'm here to admit when I'm wrong, okay? I am here to admit to you when I'm in the wrong. This is one of those moments. The Trump administration is that fucking stupid. It turns out they're that stupid. Like, for me, I looked at the situation and I thought, there's no way. This is the American empire. Everything I've known. I'm not a nothing ever happens kind of guy, but when it comes to this kind of shit, nothing does indeed ever happen, because the entire purpose of the American empire is to maintain this hegemonic status and maintain intricate web that we have designed in order to permanently exploit the global south so that our fucking labor aristocracy can get the treats at low costs. Yeah, no degree. He's just that stupid. Yeah. He does not have a PhD in macroeconomics. He is just that fucking stupid. All right. That's precisely what's going on. Respect, respect, respect. Because things are happening. Okay. Things are happening at an alarming rate. Things are happening so goddamn hard that the nothing ever happens guys are going, oh my God, things are finally happening. Holy fuck, we were so wrong. Now, the reason why they're saying that is because, as I've maintained this position, things are happening all the fucking time, all around the world. It just never comes back here. It never comes back here to happen to you in your neighborhood. It doesn't hurt the suburbs of Connecticut. Things don't happen there. Things are happening in Guatemala. Things are happening in Yemen. Things are happening in Gaza. It's just things are not happening in, Idaho. And finally, things are happening in Idaho, it seems. And yeah, interesting stuff. Very cool, very interesting, cool zone shit that's going on in the United States of America. Holy baloney.
Affected midnight, many companies are already reeling. Restoration Hardware stock plummeted 40%. The CEO reacting in real time on an earnings call.
Oh, really? Oh, okay. I just looked at the screen.
No, is this good?
Oh, really? Oh, okay. I just looked at the screen. I hadn't looked at it. It got hit when I think the tariffs came out.
Economic anxieties are also rippling through the auto industry, now facing...
Dude. The photos coming from the New York Stock Exchange floor yesterday are insane. There is a little bit of catharsis here. I'm sorry. Like, there is a moment of vindication, I think, for people like myself, because we look at like how heavily financialized our global marketplace is, and the ramifications of that are so severe. So when you look at like all the loyal peons that have upheld this system and you watch them in shock, in true utter horror that like one singular baboon-brained dipshit can just destroy everything for them in ways that they never could have comprehended, coming from not left field, but right field, all of a sudden, there's like a moment of catharsis, like where you're like, well, how about you guys feel this a little bit? You know what I mean? How about you fucking feel this pain a little bit? Because for the average American, this is a daily part of the problem. Now, of course, the way that the stock market works, obviously the gains are privatized and the losses are socialized. So like you're fucked. You're fucked way harder than everybody else. Make no mistake. But I think like it's almost like a Luigi Mangione moment. I feel like Donald Trump is the Luigi Mangione of finance a little bit, where he just basically domed the stock market, and Americans were like, well, yeah, my 401k is done, but also like there's a little bit of catharsis, I think. Like, I don't know, maybe I'm reading it incorrectly. Maybe I'm wrong, but at least like amongst normie people that I talk to, it does kind of feel like everything is really messed up, isn't it, huh? Oh, well, because their shit is already fucked. You know what I mean? Their shit is already fucked to a severe degree. And people are genuinely fearful about what is to come next. I don't think a lot of people understand how devastating this will be. Obviously, I've talked about it quite a bit, about like what the impact of this is going to look like for sure. But because like inflation is terrifying people, but in all of that, I think there are some people who are just going like, okay, well, like this was already pretty bad and it's getting worse. What the fuck do I do about it? My fucking portfolio is dying. I put my money into historically safe investments and it's being obliterated. Help. Yeah. Dude, the stock market has a father and a husband. Show some respect. We made it through COVID. We be all right. Like, it is such a wild set of circumstances that has unfolded. It is such a wild situation ahead of us that the New York Times is talking about maybe these international manufacturing hubs will actually lower their prices to make sure that the American public doesn't eat too much of that cost. There will always be a price increase. Tariffs means automatic price increases, but maybe the suffering will be a little bit less. Maybe the suffering will be a little bit less. Now, the other side of the story is that if you want to fix that trade deficit, if you're the United States of America and you're the consumption engine of the global economy, it's going to be quite difficult for you to turn that around. Like, what are you supposed to do? What are the people of Madagascar supposed to do? What are the people in Cambodia supposed to do? Are they supposed to just like purchase whatever the fuck we make here? Like, I don't understand. That's truly a thing that I'm having a hard time coming to terms with, because like it seems like he wants to, one, bring manufacturing back to the United States of America without actually fucking building the infrastructure to do that, which is psychotic. It's not gonna fucking happen. Two, he wants to decouple trade from China and even other like secondary manufacturing hubs that China has moved into, because they know that Donald Trump has been aggressively pursuing the tariff policy against China. So Chinese manufacturers, due to living standards improving too much in China, and also because of those tariffs, have moved their manufacturing hub to like Vietnam and stuff. And they are fucking Vietnam over as a consequence of that as well. America's doing that. So what are these countries supposed to do? Like, what are they supposed to do? Like, what can they do to fix the trade deficit? Because as it stands, we don't have the manufacturing power. We do not have the manufacturing power right now. So even if for Donald Trump, in his perfect vision, for Donald Trump's perfect vision to become reality, America would need to overnight open up endless factories, facilities with incredible amounts of foreign capital and investment coming in, right? And not like Hyundai facilities, because like Hyundai has opened up facilities, but they're not technically made in America. So like he wants to take that out as well. Like he wants all of these other companies to basically go away, to not be able to sell to the United States of America. And then he wants those countries to purchase from us. But we don't have supplies. We don't have the facilities. We don't have the infrastructure as it stands. So even if you fucking built the infrastructure, it's physically impossible. It's not going to fucking happen. Then what? We just start manufacturing all this stuff and they have to buy it at our price point? Like, how that expectation is so stupid. Everything that I'm talking about would require, at least in the most expeditious manner, Chinese style, command economy, central planning style, eminent domain shit, moving the labor force around aggressively without any sort of political repercussions. That, with all of that in mind, that's a 10-year plan, minimum. America does not even have the skeleton to be able to do this shit. America does not have the backbone to be able to do this shit. America has never done this shit unless it was like World War II. That's the last time we were able to do that, okay? So, like, yeah, they tax Lesotho. What are they supposed to do? Lesotho, you need to buy what we make in the United States of America. We're not making shit right now, but when we do, you need to buy it. But we're gonna tax you anyway. Lesotho, all the countries. Do you understand why it's kind of funny and very frustrating to look at what the hell's going on around the world, you know? Lesotho. We don't have the industrial base as it stands. We don't even know if we have the labor power to be able to do this. And we broke it first with the hopes that we can build that, but with no incentive structure to build it anyway. Because the furthest that in these past couple of decades, the furthest along we've ever been in terms of bringing back manufacturing into the United States of America was Build Back Better, IRA, and the CHIPS Act. All Brandonian regime moves. And that was a day late and $1 too short to begin with, because that was done within the confines of neoliberalism. Trump is not even doing that. Trump is not even doing that at all. He's just breaking it with no intention, seemingly, of fixing it at all in the aftermath. It makes no sense. It makes no sense. And like, we laugh about the stupidity because like, oh my God, they put tariffs on penguins. And it's like, yeah, they did. They did put fucking tariffs on penguins because they're that fucking stupid. It just, and not only are they that stupid, They're not even trying to shelter you from their stupidity. They're like, yeah, we're this fucking stupid. What are you going to do about it? Yeah, I'm the dumbest guy you know. I'm the biggest dumbass you've ever met. And what the fuck are you going to do about it? All the other dumbasses voted for me, and I'm going to fucking do this shit. Sucks to suck. That's the situation in front of us right now. That's where we're at. Okay, let's do a little bit of hogwatch because I want to see some of these. I want to see some of these hogs defend the tariffs, okay?
People understood the tariffs that President Trump is implementing. I wish more people knew what kind of freedom that's going to give the American people. Woo! President Trump is trying to use these tariffs to get rid of taxes. And I'm telling you guys, he is very smart. That's how the country was ran before taxes. I truly have a hard time understanding how anybody could be against that. I understand maybe not liking him.
I like that this is somehow good for her. Like in her mind, she thinks this is good for her. Oh my God, we are so stupid. Oh my God. That is the scariest part of this equation. The scariest part of the economy outside of all of that is the idea that Donald Trump is going to somehow make up a shortfall for gutting income taxes in its fucking entirety, okay, which is like the last remaining progressive form of taxation that doesn't overwhelmingly burden individuals in the working poor, in the working class, as opposed to the wealthiest people in society. That's the one type of progressive taxation that remains, and it's already far too little in comparison to what it should be at, okay? And these people are going, hell yeah, no more taxes. It's going to be so much better. It's like, listen to me. Listen to me very carefully, okay? Tariffs will not be able to make up for the lack of income taxes. Part of the reason why it won't be able to is because, let's say, 30% of your salary is back in your pocket, okay? None of the programs that it funds at the state level will exist anymore. How do you build the fucking roads? How do you pay for the school? How do you pay for anything? What are you saying? What do? We just Ancapistan? Like, what the fuck are you guys saying? Even if you're like an MMT guy on the federal level, like, what are we doing in state level? Where so much of those taxes go back directly to shit that you are consuming, using all the public resources that you take advantage of that you think are magically there, but they're not magically there. You're funding it. So I guess we're just nuking America. Like, I don't know. We're doing nukes. We're BDSing ourselves. We're doing boycott, divestment, and sanctions from the United States of America to ourselves. If you are a working class individual, okay, and it looks like you got an old ass, like, I don't know, Chevy Silverado or whatever the fuck you're driving, it's not like you're caked up, Deborah. You should not be excited at the prospect of no more taxes, no more income tax. Oh, could this hurt Israel in any way? I hope not. I sure hope not, chatter. Don't worry.
But who could be against getting rid of taxes? Who is against having more money in your pocket? The only people that could be never paid taxes. Before you complain.
Brilliant. Yeah. Only people. Well, let me tell you, okay? Listen, Deborah, I pay more taxes living in the communist nation state of California than you have in your entire life. I pay more taxes in 1 year than you do in your entire life. You've paid in your entire fucking life. Let me tell you something, okay? Let me tell you something. As someone who does that, it is my patriotic duty to do so, even though most of it still goes to Israel. Not most of it, but you know what I mean. Even though a lot of it goes to the police force, which is the domestic military force, and a lot of it goes to military R&D, I understand that even if in the margins there's like some of the funds that finally go to the fucking schools, then it's worth it. And I wish we could restructure the way that we do our expenditures, both at the state level, both at the local level, and certainly at the federal level. But beyond that, even if a little bit of that is going back, like, it's good. That's a good thing. Okay? It's a good thing. Oh, god damn, dude. People are fucking crazy.
And talk about how terrible it is. give him the opportunity to show you. I hope all you guys are having a wonderful day. It's a beautiful day here in the state of Kentucky. God.
You're in Kentucky. You're in a 1997 Ford Explorer. You're never going to be able to get a new car, by the way. It's just not happening for you. And you're like, hell yeah, I love that we're not getting our taxes. Donald Trump's going to take my taxes away. Oh, my God. Oh, no. We are so freaking cooked, dude. We are cooked. We're cooked. Are we destined to cycle the same shit? Did this kind of disinformation occur prior to the Great Depression? Never at this like rapid clip, because there was just no way to misinform one another this fast and this successfully.
25% tariffs on imported
of course, Ben
cars
Sharpino is going to be a fucking against the tariffs. He's a classic libertarian.
Parts. Stellantis, the maker of Jeep, Chrysler, and Ram, announcing they're pausing production at some plants in Canada and Mexico, and also temporarily laying off 900 workers in Indiana and Michigan. In Kentucky.
Oh yeah, this is the other side of it. Like when you're pummeling companies like Hyundai and stuff, who have built manufacturing plants and things like that in the United States of America to hire members of the U.S. workforce in an effort to get a better deal overall, to be able to enter the American marketplace overall, like, and you cut away directly at their profit margins, like they're going to pull out. They're not going to be like, all right, time to open up new factories. They're going to be like, okay, well, we don't have the money. We are no longer competitive in this marketplace. So then what do you think happens? Well, then they get fired and then those factories close. So there is a likelihood that this leads to more layoffs, not less, even in the interim.
Kentucky dairy farmer Terry Rowlett is bracing for his costs to jump.
A lot of the equipment that we use, they come in from overseas, so that increase the amount we have to pay for our parts and so forth for our dairy.
And a manager of this wine import business in San Francisco states it plainly.
It's the American importer that pays the tariff, and that is an additional cost.
Also, for months, we've been saying that for a year, since Donald Trump started talking about tariffs, I have been saying this over and over again. Tariffs are not a tax that the government, that the force for. Tariffs are a tax that the importer pays for, which then gets carried over to the consumer, meaning the price of your goods by the time you receive it will be higher as a direct consequence of said tariffs. I've been saying this every single fucking day, it seems like, for the past year, since Donald Trump came out and was like, tariffs are my favorite word. It's the best word in the English language. I've been explaining it over and over again. And it feels like conservatives have just not thought about this at all. Where like they don't even either hear it, they never encounter it, or when they hear this argument, they turn around and go, you're gay, libtard, shut the fuck up. You don't know what you're talking about. Tariffs are going to make America great. Like until the moment comes and they actually experience it, people have no way of conceptualizing information that they're receiving. This is a real crisis in education in this country. It's a real crisis of critical thinking in this fucking country. Yeah, I fucking warned you, bro, dude. I told you, bro. A critical analysis of capitalist production by Karl Marx. Edited by Frederick Engels. Yeah, every MAGA guy talking about Trump's tariffs sounds like the George W. Bush defendant from The Onion talking about the Iraq war law. Yeah, counterpoint. No, it won't. No, it won't. It just won't. None of that will happen. You're getting worked up over nothing. Everything's going to be fine. So just relax, okay? You're really overreacting. And it's really funny because I saw, I think it was Jack Posobiec's alt account and wokeness or whatever, tweet about the tariffs in the funniest way possible, where even he had to concede that it's bad. Like, it's bad, but he can't fully say it's bad. So he had to turn around and fucking be like, well, if it's not bad. Oh, here it is. 55,000 likes, by the way. If these tariffs end up working, nobody will ever trust the experts again. Dog, you never trusted the experts. And it's fine not to trust the experts. I don't trust the experts either. Okay? But like, you don't have to be an expert to recognize that this shit is just completely busted because you're feeling it right now. And the very fact that you're feeling it right now is the reason why you said if these tariffs end up working. As in, you also are aware that it is not working and there is a likelihood that it won't work. It is fucking awesome, okay? It is hilarious. Now, the experts have been wrong on a lot of basic predictions. Okay, of course they have been. Well, there are some experts that are not wrong. Usually, in the overall trend lines, like profit margins, profit rates, and their tendency to decline, for example, and what kind of consequences that might have for the political economy of the global, or of the entire global web of countries cooperating with one another, constantly doing war with one another. Imperialism being the final state of capitalism, that sort of thing. Those guys were right. Those experts were right. They were so fucking right. I will say that every day of the week. But, yeah, our like the very narrow focus of maintaining this capitalist framework, like the experts that work within the confines of capitalist thinking, capitalist thought, capitalist dogma, if you will. Yes, they're wrong all the fucking time. But having said that, in terms of the immediate impacts of tariffs, they're not wrong. They're not wrong. And Trump does have the capacity to prove them wrong. But the issue is, in order to try and prove them wrong, you would actually have to do China shit, okay? You would have to work outside of the bounds of capitalist dogma. You would have to do massive public spending initiatives. You would have to change the way that the American economy works. You would have to change the way that the American government works. You would have to be a socialist. That's it. Straightforwardly, you would have to behave like a fucking socialist to be able to manage this situation. And even then, okay, even then, as a leftist myself, I'm saying Trump's implementation of these tariffs, the way that he haphazardly slapped on these arbitrary numbers to countries, and the way that he is destabilizing the system is still incorrect. It is still not the appropriate way to do it. You have to build the infrastructure first before you break some of these things. You have to make it sector specific, piece by piece. You build, I don't know, battery plants or something, and then you go after batteries and you tariff that kind of stuff. Okay? You develop you develop extraction contracts, even though China currently has a monopoly on this stuff. You develop extraction contracts with these countries where you can get the resources, the natural resources necessary to be able to build the battery refinement process, and then the battery factories and facilities. It would take years of fucking this would take years and years of building ahead of time before you even did a sector specific tariff in order to boost American manufacturing. None of that is happening. None of that at all.
That either has to be eaten or passed on to the consumers.
Though some feel the change will be worth it eventually.
It's going to be a hard adjustment for a lot of people.
What? To believe this? What? Other than just the other than sheer belief in Donald Trump. Okay? Why? Aside from just simply having this cultish attitude towards dear leader who will fix it all because you think he's brilliant and brave and, more laughably, cares about you, what is leading you? What is an indicator that makes you think things are going to be better? Just blind faith placed upon a fucking billionaire asshole born with a silver spoon who has demonstrably never cared about anyone but himself. What are we doing? God damn, I'm jealous, though. On the other side, I'm jealous because, one, like I've said, tariffs in and of itself, not necessarily something I'm against. Trade protectionism, not something I'm against. Free trade and the way that it is designed is bad for the global south, and it's bad for the United States of America and the American manufacturing capabilities, as we've seen over the course of the past couple of decades. So I look to all of this, and I look to what fucking Trump is doing with envy, with resentment first and anger, but then also with envy, because he gets to do this shit. And he gets to do it in the wrong direction, not even in the right direction. And it pisses me off. It makes me so mad that one singular telegenic guy who was able to take over the infrastructure of the Republican Party and basically rebuild it in his own vision with a little bit of populist sentiment baked into it, with no real motivation to enact any sort of popular policies that will help his base, can get away with basically destroying his base first and foremost. When these guys, like when Trump cuts funding to like telehealth facilities, right? Who do you think that hurts the most? It hurts poor people, yes, but it hurts people in rural areas the most. When they talk about changing the funding mechanism for the USPS, for the U.S. Postal Service, who do you think gets fucked over in that process? If they privatize the U.S. Postal Service, who do you think doesn't get their medicine? Rural people, his fucking base. He is directly killing his base first and foremost. Same shit happened in COVID. Who died during COVID at an alarming rate? People in fucking red states that didn't believe that it was real because they said, our dear leader said it's not real. I don't care. It's not real to me, damn it. I'm never wearing a mask. No face stopper for me. Fuck you. Oh, now I'm dead. I'm never taking the vaccine. Now I'm dead. It is alarming.
But I believe in Trump.
And we are starting to see other nations respond to these tariffs. This morning, China has now announced in retaliation they'll be imposing an additional.
Trump supporters just don't care. My stepdad got laid off as a welder in Trump's first term because of the tariffs, and his dumbass voted for him again and still has stickers and signs everywhere. Rural Ohio moment and a type 1 diabetic son. Jesus Christ, dude. These guys want to cut Medicaid. Who do you think relies on Medicaid? Rural hospitals that are already in a state of fucking disrepair. That's who relies on Medicaid. He actively is killing. He is like Pol Pot, but instead of people wearing glasses, he's just fucking killing his fans. Even these tariffs, the first industry that goes down with the tariffs is the fucking Trump MAGA merch stores. Okay? His diehard loyalists. It's fucking insane. And they don't recognize it. And the worst part is, we don't do outreach in these communities anyway. And we have no motion in these communities anyway because the Democrats can't go there and talk to them like real fucking people and be like, hey, have you noticed that shit is getting really bad for you specifically? Perhaps it's because this guy doesn't care about you, and here's how we're going to fix it. They can't even do that. They can't do that because their solution is tax cuts to the tune of $25,000 for small businesses that work in underserved neighborhoods if you were a HBCU graduate. It's like, fucking what are we doing? Like, the Democrats have dropped the ball so fucking consistently, and the guys will just still go with the guy who's like, I hate you. I'm going to kill you. You're going to die. You're going to die 1,000 deaths. Everything you know, you will lose. And these guys go, hell yeah, Mr. President. I would rather do that than fucking vote for the gay party.
Additional 34% tariff on all.
HVAC, Trump's big sector, is fucked to death right now. Dude, look at my earlier message. I'm in the industry. Yeah, my HVAC HasanAbi heads. Hasan, today was my last day of working in HVAC business. Everything was on fire today. They had to cancel 40 pallets of heat pumps from China. Prices are going up 75% for HVAC equipment. Luckily, I got a union job as a train conductor 2 weeks ago. Hell yeah, brother. Hell yeah, brother.
Products that they import from the U.S. Michael?
Yeah, it seems like this may escalate even more, Trevor. Thank you so much for that.
Steve.
Yeah, Melissa. And
also, here, I'm going to pepper in some reactions, obviously, from Republicans on this issue. Here's Ian Miles Wrong, who has, once again, never lived in the United States of America. As far as I understand, never stepped foot inside of the United States of America, is instead someone who lives in Malaysia. You might not recognize that, though, from the way he's going to talk about the Trump cuts. The Trump tariffs. Let's take a look.
I like Trump. I think we need to know how they calculated these.
Wait, hold on. I'm going to start it again because I fucked up the audio.
I like Trump. I think we need to know how they calculated these things and be like, oh yeah, America first. Like, we have to be educated on this. The public needs to understand why they're going to be paying more for products in certain countries. Like, why are Nike shoes going to go up by like 50%? If all Nike shoes are made in Vietnam, then the price will effectively be going up by what? 46%? So you'll be effectively paying 50% more for your shoes, for your Nikes. That's insane. This means that Americans are going to have less purchasing power, if anything. If stuff is just more expensive, then your money's worth less. I like Trump. I think we need to know how.
When he says, I think we need, I'm thinking to myself, like, what do you mean we? Because you don't live in America. You've never lived in America. You're not an American citizen. And as far as I understand, you've never stepped foot inside of the United States of America. Are you talking about the tariffs placed upon Malaysia? Is that what you're saying? Where, like, the impact on this? When he says we, he's talking about Malaysians. He's talking about the Malaysian population and the Malaysian industry. I think that's what he's talking about, right? Because you're not American. You don't live in America. I don't think this will impact you in the ways that you think it'll impact you, at least. But yeah, here, let's hear Let's take a look at what happened on CNBC earlier as well. I want to see what they're saying.
Really honest, Kelly, I've been listening the last 10 minutes of this show. I cannot believe what I'm listening to. I heard your last guest say, if the economy shrinks, that's good. If the stock market goes down, that's good. If the housing market crashes, that's good. If there's a trade war, that's good. When did the capital class get taken over by degrowther protectionists seeking 19th century autarky?
Okay, but Derek, let me just jump in first. One refrain we've heard from millennials over the past several years, it's that the dream is gone. They can't afford a house. Groceries are too expensive.
It's only the first chapter of abundance.
It's apparently the first chapter of your book. So aren't you a little surprised to hear the globalists, the pro-stock market types who are supposed to be at fault for all of this, now reading out of your book and saying we're bringing prices back down?
They're crashing the economy. That's very, very different than making housing affordable. If you want affordable housing, you need a job. If you crash...
Okay, here's where I disagree with Derek. Mr. Abundance, okay? He wrote the Abundance book alongside Ezra Klein. No, I think that the housing market does need to go down, and that will be a tumultuous period. The problem with these tariffs is that it's not even fucking doing that to the housing market, which is so goddamn annoying. Anyway, so yeah, no, that will be hard times, okay? That will definitely be hard times. It'll be hard times for every single person, depending on what state you're in or what city you're in. Approximately 40% to all the way up to 60% of the population that relies on their house as a vehicle of investment, a nest egg for themselves. That is going to hurt, okay? It's going to hurt for them because if prices within the housing market go down as a consequence of, let's say, a lot of public funds being expended to build social housing, public housing, that will readjust the housing market because there will be an abundance of new units, okay? An abundance of new housing that will, due to normal market conditions, lower the prices overall of the available inventory, okay? Because demand is always high, but now supply is also matching the demand. All of a sudden, prices are going to adjust. They're going to go down. All these people that have taken mortgages out, they're going to suffer. That's fine. That has to happen. I'm sorry. That literally fucking has to happen. This is the side of, I guess, leftist politics and socialism that people don't ever want to discuss, don't ever want to talk about. I usually refrain from talking about this, but I do explain to people why it is a major hurdle to do any sort of serious housing policy, even though everybody is like, yeah, this homelessness thing is out of control. Okay? That's the major roadblock. That's why I'm so fucking envious that Donald Trump can just like put his fucking hands on the stock market and just like, just destroy it, okay? Pick it apart with some repercussions, but nothing as severe as like what I just suggested. If what I just suggested were to happen even in fucking California, they would assassinate Gavin Newsom, okay? Especially in the direction of fixing the housing market and not like just simply breaking it with no decipherable solution. Do you understand? Do you understand why I say I'm fucking envious? Because I understand that there will be a period. There will... What? Banned? What are you guys saying? What? Why are you saying banned? No, I'm saying they would assassinate Gavin Newsom if he did something like this. That's not ban-worthy, okay? Calm down. Shut up, chatters, please. Anyway, it's a hypothetical. I'm not saying that you should do this or whatever. There is not even a you should there in the same way that I phrased it with Rick Scott. Calm down. You can't clip that in a way that makes it seem like I'm saying that.
Crash the economy, you're going to have unemployment. And whenever unemployment hits an economy, as we just saw in 2008 and we saw before in the 1990s, who loses their jobs first? It's last one in, first one out. It's young people. So if your job or if your plan is to crash the economy in the short term for the purpose of helping young people afford a house, you have got it totally backward. Young people need jobs, they need money, and then they need a plan to make housing affordable, right? Donald Trump could have come into office and said, what I want to do is to make the construction of housing affordable. That means the inputs to housing. Instead, he slaps a 25% tariff.
Yeah, I absolutely unreal CNBC segment of DK Tom trying to patiently explain the difference between housing prices falling due to global demand crash, and housing prices falling due to supply side reforms. So he's not
totally honest,
entirely wrong, but he's not entirely wrong. He's right about this part of the process, like breaking the economy with no real reason in an inexplicable fashion is not even going to, it's not even going to fucking crash the housing market, ironically enough. Having said that, the part that I disagree with Derek Thompson on is that if you were to do a very specific policy, even in a place like California, or even in fucking Los Angeles, not even the entire state of California, but just in Los Angeles, there would be a period where housing prices would inevitably go down, which would hurt a lot of people because of the way that we have designed our finances. Because every American that owns a house, myself included, even though I don't see this as a vehicle of investment, right? I don't see this as a vehicle of investment at all, but I still have to take out a mortgage to purchase it, right? Because it's fucking impossible to buy a house with just straight cash. So if the value of this house that I'm inside of goes down, I don't rely on the value of this house and capital accumulation to beef up my net worth, so it doesn't matter to me. But for someone who's like 60 years old and has a house and they've taken out a second mortgage on it, all of a sudden they're paying a mortgage on something. They're paying a mortgage on a house that the value has diminished on. So they can't even fucking sell it off. So their net worth went down, right? That certainly is a instance where people will get very frustrated. And that has to happen. That literally has to happen. You cannot solve the housing market without lowering housing prices. The abundance agenda does not explain this side of the process. The abundance agenda does not, I'm not using it as a vehicle of investment, but that's exactly what it is, whether or not your motives are there. Exactly. That's my point. That's my point. That's my point. That you're making my point for me. Like, I don't give a shit if my housing prices go down. I want them to go down. I want this house to be fucking worth half the price that it actually is, because that would mean that the housing market is fucking crashing, but also that means that houses will become more affordable in the process. Do you understand my point? And the only way to do that is through the government interfering in the normal market, okay? You have to do that. There is no other way out of this. Deregulation, dezoning, sure. Dezoning, especially when it comes to like single family units, that's fine. That is a necessity. Absolutely. Okay? There's a finite amount of space. There's a finite amount of land, and there's a lot of demand, right? Having said that, that's not the end all be all, because if you're fucking building luxury condominiums like they do in downtown Los Angeles, that's clearly not solving, that's not making up for the demand. That's not solving the fucking problem. You have to build houses with affordability in mind, or directly for free, built by the government. Through eminent domain, you take over houses that are no longer being used, or apartment complexes that are no longer being built, like the one in fucking downtown Los Angeles, the famous one, or you create affordable houses to compete with the pre-existing inventory of rental that has skyrocketed in cost. There is no other way to claw those prices down. That's it. And in that process, if you look at a place like Los Angeles, where 44% of the 44% of the available inventory of housing is like owned and lived in by people who own their own homes, those people who have taken out mortgages, those people who rely on their housing price going up every year, that see it as a nest egg, see it as a retirement fund, those people are going to suffer a little bit. But in the process, you will eradicate homelessness. You will make it so that this major part of people's existence will become more affordable. That's it. That's it. I guess that's the big disagreement that I have, seemingly, with Derek on this part. But he is right on the virtues. He is right on, like, how like Trump breaking the system for indecipherable reasons is not a good thing. It's not going to help the fucking millennials and the Zoomers and shit. It's just going to hurt them more. JP Morgan ups recession odds to 60%. Let's take a look.
Not one that is really quick on the trigger to make changes like that. JP Morgan upping its recession odds to 60% from 40% previously, citing obviously the tariffs, the effect on business sentiment, the effect on investment.
Is this good?
And the effect on...
I'm not a finance guy. Is that good? Hey, guys, I'm not... Hey, guys, can someone explain to me if this is good or not? I don't really understand this stuff. Oh, my God, we're so fucked.
Consumer price. They said, quote, these policies, if sustained, would likely push the U.S. and possibly global economy into recession this year. And if I could shift gears, Melissa, we just got an email from, or a study from the Cato Institute. What they did is they looked at the tariffs that the White House says countries charged us versus the actual tariffs they charged. Take a look. Vietnam, they said that President Trump said it's 90%. It's actually 5.1% for an 85% difference. We'll go down the list. Taiwan, Switzerland, which is known to not charge almost any tariffs at all. 61% the White House said. It's actually 1.7.
Dude, this is so funny. It's just like, this is pure stupidity. And they can get away with this because people are dumb. That's it. And by the way, Vietnam's charging 5.1% tariffs. They said they would lower to 0. It don't matter because the White House tariff rate has nothing to do with the actual tariffs being freaking charged by the country and everything to do with trade deficits. As in, they want significantly poorer countries. Okay. On its face, I'm going to repeat this one more time. Trump wants to use tariffs as a mechanism to punish countries for the trade deficits. As in, he wants significantly poorer nations to purchase America at reasonable levels that where there's like some sort of trade parity, except American goods are more costly. And on top of that, we don't even have the manufacturing base to produce the necessary demand. So it literally doesn't make sense at any point of this conversation. Because one, American goods, if produced here and then shipped overseas to like Vietnam, are going to be significantly more expensive than shit that they produce domestically. Okay? Two, we don't even have the industrial base to become the manufacturing hub of the planet, let alone overnight. We certainly don't. And last but not least, the shit that we produce here does not even suit the demand of their markets. The greatest example of this are fucking cars, okay? The greatest example of this is vehicles. We literally do not produce vehicles that these guys could even use on their roads. These guys could even use on their fucking crowded city streets. Like, in order for this to work, Europe would have to change the commercial driver's license necessity that you need for to be able to drive the basic model of the most popular vehicle in the United States of America, a Ford F-150. The RAV4, the Toyota RAV4 actually beat the F-150 in the most sold car, most popular car in America last year. But outside of that, year over year, the Ford F-150 pickup truck that has become ginormous, okay, in because of the CAFE standards, to avoid the CAFE standards, that car is the most popular car in the United States of America. That's the car that we produce the most, okay? In order for Europeans to be able to drive this car, they would need to change the driver's license restrictions. You need a CDL to be able to drive a fucking Ford F-150. You would also need to change the way that these cities work because there is significantly less car reliance to begin with in many European capitals where a lot of the people live because they have public transit. And on top of that, it just simply wouldn't fit on the fucking roads. So what is the argument here? Sorry, we're going to tariff you. We're going to tariff you until you're dead. You have to buy our F-150. The child mutilator must be every European suburb. You have to build suburbs now. You have to repave your roads and drive our monstrosities. Also, gas. That's the other thing. Gas is so fucking expensive in Europe. That's another part of the process. Like, you need to drive our gas guzzlers. Vietnam has a trade deficit of $110 billion and a population of 110 million, in a country where with the per capita GDP is $4,000, a quarter of that would need to be American purchases of balanced deficit in a year. Yeah, they're just going to buy, like, what are they going to buy? What do we even build? That's the other part of the story. Is just like, what can they buy? Weapons? What do we build in the United States of America? We build software, tech services, and we build weapons, and we build cars. What are they supposed to buy? A fucking fighter jet? Like, what are they going to do? What are they going to do? Harley Davidsons? Everyone has to drive Harley Davidsons, which is the gas guzzling giant of the motorcycle world. Everything we buy, everything we build is a gas guzzler in comparison to the relative sector and the domestic manufactured competitor. You must buy it. Everything is Tesla. Anyway, it just doesn't make sense. It doesn't make sense at all. It is indecipherable, and it is so perfectly Donald Trump. And considering that we have no sway in the way that things happen in the United States of America, the least we could do is kick back and enjoy the fucking show and watch these dumb hogs who were like, Donald Trump is going to save the world, turn around and need goods anyway. We need to do degrowth. What are you, a gay commie? You want to purchase commodities at a reasonable, affordable price point? What is wrong with you? I feel like I'm losing my freaking mind.
Indonesia, where we get a lot of garments from, they're at 5.3. The White House says they're at 64. And very importantly, the European Union. Remember when the president said there was 39? And then we can go down the list. These are important trading partners. Now, of course, there are some non-tariff trade barriers that are difficult to quantify. But the White House basically being accused by people of using a formula that no one has ever used to come up with these tariff rates and then say, oh, we were kind to them and we did half. Melissa?
Hey, Sarah, we're just hearing from the president on a couple of different topics here, two big ones. The first I want to bring you is that the president is saying on...
One of the funniest aspects of this, of course, is that predictably, Donald Trump is going to do this thing that he's always done. He did it in the first term. He did it in the... He has done it multiple times so far in the second term as well, where he breaks something and then everybody freaks the fuck out. You wipe out trillions of dollars of fucking value in the stock market, and then he turns around and the other side, the foreign nations, actually give him assurances that make it seem like they're complying with these ridiculous demands that he's making. So then he restores the order and goes, see, I fixed it. It's like, you broke it. You didn't have to break it. You didn't have to break it at all. The classic. So we'll probably see a little bit of that in the upcoming days, even though this administration now is seemingly resilient to any of the naysayers that keep saying, please, Mr. President, you're killing us. Yeah. Countries, Claudia Sheinbaum does this very well in Mexico, will just be like, oh, yeah, you've really put the fear of God in our hearts. We are going to combat the fentanyl crisis in our borders. And they don't even do anything new. Like, they have already been combating the fentanyl crisis, and they just basically go, see, we did it. You did it. You did it, sir. You forced our hand. And then Trump goes back and goes, see, major W, no more tariffs on Mexico. That's it. Nothing changed in the process except for a period of instability born out of Donald Trump's stupid fucking mouth. Nothing changed at all. Everybody has to act like the glorious president is doing stuff virtually all of the other countries are held hostage by this madman. And it's so funny where they just have to be like, yes, Mr. President, you scared us so hard. You put the fear of God in our hearts, and we are complying. Like, Vietnam goes from 5% tariffs to 0% tariffs, and Trump's like, major victory. Major victory. Okay, so it's not about the trade deficit then. So it's not even for the reasons that you have, the hidden reasons that you wanted to do this. What is it for then? Nothing.
True Social. He just had a very productive call with the General Secretary of the Communist Party of Vietnam on the tariff, saying that this man told him that Vietnam wants to cut their tariffs down to 0 if they are able to make an agreement with the U.S. Trump says that he replied by thanking him on behalf of the U.S. and saying he looked forward to a meeting in the near future. So no definite moves happening there, but it does show that the president is taking calls. This is the first confirmation we have that the president has spoken to another world leader since these tariffs were put in place. This is while he's down in Florida. They say this call has been happening. And it also suggests, Sarah, that in a shift from what we were hearing from administration officials yesterday, this could be a negotiation for this administration. They could be open to deals now, despite what we were hearing at first. And remember, Vietnam got one of the highest tariff rates on Wednesday at 46%, also a country that's a big deal when it comes to transshipment out of China, trying to avoid the Chinese tariffs. A lot of companies have gone to Vietnam. So very interesting there if we could get a deal or see a deal with the Vietnamese. I also want to flag that just in the last 2 minutes, the president also posted on Truth Social about the Federal Reserve just ahead of Powell's speech. The president says this would be a perfect time for Fed Chairman Jerome Powell to cut interest rates. He is always late, but he could now change his image and quickly. He says energy prices are down, interest rates are down, inflation are down. So cut interest rates, Jerome, and stop playing politics. Obviously, it's not anything new, but given the context here, we know the Fed isn't meeting officially for a policy meeting until May, but it does come just ahead of that speech. We will see if the Fed chairman addresses it later today. Guys.
U.S. stocks are tumbling for the second day. The Dow is already down 1,000 points after dropping almost 1,700 points yesterday. This comes escalating trade war and despite a stronger than expected new job.
Come on, Jerome. Come on, Jerome. Do it.
Jobs report just out this morning. Also affecting the markets this morning, retaliation from China. Beijing announced it's responding to the White House's sweeping tariffs with 34% new tariffs of its own against the United States. Let's go live right now to New York and CNN business and politics correspondent Vanessa Yurkevich, who's standing by. Vanessa, you're watching all of this. Break it down for us. First of all, start with the jobs report that came out this morning.
Yeah, well, this jobs report, better than expected jobs report, may have softened the opening on Wall Street just a little bit. But look at stocks right now. Look at where markets are really tumbling this morning as investors are pricing in really the worst case scenario, a trade war escalation. They are looking for some sense that the administration is willing to negotiate with countries. That does not seem to be the case. Investors telling me that their trust has been just completely eroded as this trade war escalates. As you mentioned,
5 hours, 800,000 views. Dude, media's cooking.
Though a bright spot, the jobs report, better than expected numbers in March. Hiring picked up 228,000. That's more than 100,000, or about 100,000 more than expected. And
5 minutes until the markets close. I don't know anything about the economy. Red is good, right? Red means good, right? It's good that the S&P 500 is down 6%. Dow 30 down 5.5. NASDAQ down almost 6% as well. Yeah, in Chinese culture, red is a lucky color. Okay. Yeah, I don't know anything. I'm just going off feelings right now, and it feels like red is a good feeling. Red is a good color, I think, for the stock market.
Unemployment rate ticking up to about 4.2%, just slightly from 4.1%. But really, as investors are telling me, this is ancient news at this point. This is looking backwards in March. Really, everything changed on April 2nd when President Trump announced these universal tariffs. And Wall Street was waiting for retaliation from major trading partners. And we heard from China just this morning a 34% tariff on all U.S. exports going into China. That's about 143.
Now, the thing with that, I guess like the only thing there is that, ironically enough, Donald Trump wants to make up for the trade deficit, let's say, if that is his true purpose here, because I don't even know what he's fucking doing or why he's doing it. But let's say he wants these countries to purchase more American goods, right? Even though I don't even know what we would sell them. We buy a lot more from China than they buy from us. So when they actually slap tariffs like this, it's not as impactful as it's supposed to be for China, right? So, I mean, it will still hurt. Make no mistake, but it's not that. I guess that's what Donald Trump is trying to do here. I guess that's what he's gonna fix it with. Trump posted this TikTok video that he says are his plans. American Papa Bear.
Trump is crashing the stock market by 20% this month.
Trump is playing chess while everyone else is playing checkers. American Papa Bear. Trump truthed American Papa Bear a Twitter link implying this is his goal.
And this is why Warren Buffett just said Trump is making the best economic moves he's seen in over 50 years. Now, here's the secret game he's playing, and it could make you rich. So why is he doing this? To push cash into treasuries, which forces the Fed to slash interest rates in May, and those lower rates give the Fed the ability to refinance trillions of debt very inexpensively. It also weakens the dollar and drops mortgage rates. Now, it's a wild chess move, but it's working. Now, you're probably wondering, what about his tariffs? Well, I'll tell you, it's a genius play. It actually forces companies to build here to dodge them. It also forces farmers to sell more of their products here in the U.S. to bring grocery prices way down. We've already seen this with eggs. Now, remember,
Trump is the president. He knows that's not what happened with eggs. His administration's decisions are the opposite of what this guy is suggesting. Why is he publishing this as though it's real and correct? He knows better. No, we went to the global market to make up for the supply shock on eggs as a consequence of the avian flu. What? That's not, what is he saying? I mean, this is just, this right here destroys the rest of the rest of the speculation.
Remember, 94% of all stocks are owned only by 8% of Americans. So Trump, he's taking from the rich short term and handing it to the middle class through lower prices.
You don't understand, brother. Just because I'm going to lose my job and house and I'm probably going to have to pimp my wife and daughter doesn't mean Trump is making a mistake. You're wrong, libtard. Yeah, this doesn't, I mean, maybe the first half of it, but I feel like there's better ways of doing it without destroying. I mean, dude, I think about it like if Brandon did something like this, Trump would be calling for his head. You know what I mean? Like every day. They'd be doing a January 6th times 11 every single day. They'd be putting up guillotines outside of the Capitol. Okay? What are we talking about here? This is so weird. There's also better sources than TikTok. Buffett denies social media rumors after Trump shares wild claim that investors back president crashing the market. Not that I want to defend him, but wait, you don't want to defend Warren Buffett? Is that what you're saying? Or you don't want to defend, because wait, so this TikTok guy was wrong? Warren Buffett didn't say that? The video's narrated then falsely states, and this is why Warren Buffett just said Trump is making the best economic moves he's seen in over 50 years. The president shared a link to an X-post from the account America Papa Bear, self-described Trumper to the end. The X-post itself appears to be a repost of a weeks-old TikTok video from the user WNNSA11. The video has been shared more than 2,000 times on True Social. Buffett, 94, didn't single out any specific post, but his conglomerate Berkshire Hathaway outright rejected all comments claimed to be made by him. There are reports currently circulating on social media, including Twitter, Facebook, and TikTok, regarding comments allegedly made by Warren E. Buffett. All such reports are false, the company said in a statement on Friday. CNBC's Becky Quick spoke to Buffett Friday about this statement, and he said he wanted to knock down misinformation in an age where false rumors, oh my God, blip. Dow drops 2,200 points Friday. S&P loses 10% in 2 days as Trump's tariff market rout deepens. It's awesome that the president of the United States of America is signing off on a random TikTok that a random Trump supporter on Twitter recycled. And he's like, yep, that's right. This is my secret agenda. And it's not. And it's filled to the brim with misinformation. Update on your CNN segment, bro. Check logs. Check messages, little bro. Dude, you are so fucking annoying. What? What? I'm checking your logs. What do you want? I need your help, bro. I have a stupid friend who always argues with me anytime Trump says something like tariffs and consequences, especially stock market. She always says, oh, why didn't you vote for Kamala? This is why we vote for Kamala. And you were too scared to vote for Kamala. How do I counter that dumbass argument? This guy fucking trolls me every day, dude. This is not an update. One sec, let me type it out. I'm on mobile with my girlfriend at Chick-fil-A. I don't believe anything that you're saying. I believe nothing. I don't believe that you have a cousin. I don't believe you have a cousin at all, let alone one that works at CNN. I don't believe you have a girlfriend, and I don't think you are eating at Chick-fil-A right now. I don't even think you're on mobile. I think you are actually watching this stream on your desktop right now in your crusty ass underwear, okay? It is funny though, so I entertain it. Anyway, let's keep going. No, you see, this is 5D chess plays happening, okay? Trump is expertly crashing the economy. It's actually good. It's actually good that the economy is crashing. Monday's about to be a freaking bloodbath. Breaking, the S&P 500 ends the week down 9.1 in its largest weekly drop since March 2020, erasing $4 trillion in market cap. Today marked the S&P 500 and Nasdaq's worst day since March 2020. Amazing. Amazing.
$1 billion worth of goods every single year. Things like chemicals, computers, agriculture.
Is this chatter joking? We got a wholesome space for Cory Booker. Why the fuck are progressives allergic to radical ideas? We need to rally behind him ASAP. He's the only one standing between us and fascism. Hashtag resist. Hashtag Booker 2028. Cory Booker for president. Hashtag resist. Cory Booker is my favorite socialist. Any libs? The way he isn't scared to wear the yellow Israel pin is so brave. Hashtag resist. Cory Booker better. Cory Booker is single-handedly saving USPS and free speech. If you don't support Cory Booker, you're racist. Hashtag resist. Cory Booker filibuster made me cry. Brave, brave man. Cory Booker protests for 25 hours. Hashtag resist. Hashtag lead by example. Hashtag anti-racist. Y'all are racist. Hashtag Cory Booker 2028. This guy's awesome. Chatter, you're funny. You're funny. Cory isn't scared to stand by Israel with his pin. Brave. Nobody else is doing this. Dude, oh my God. Fucking awesome. At least people get funnier when in periods of economic volatility, economic instability, people do have a tendency to get funnier. So there's that. Maybe content will be better overall.
Culture products, which I will note already have previous tariffs on them from 2018 during President Trump's first term, and also retaliatory tariffs that went into place in
chat being funny is a recession indicator. Also, constantly saying random things of recession indicators are unironically a recession indicator.
March. So an escalation on that front. You also see there that's going to impact transportation and oil and gas coming out of the United States. But worth noting, though, that we, the U.S., get a lot more from China than we send them. We get about $438 billion worth of goods every single year. And that now also, because of what President Trump put in place, has a 34% tariff on those goods. Economists agree, Wolf, that those prices, those increase in prices, will likely get passed down to us, the U.S. consumer.
What if the libs are right and Trump is actually a Russian agent trying to have Russo-American solidarity by collapsing the U.S. like the Soviet Union? Yeah, this is Russia's revenge. Yeah, Krasnov, Agent Krasnov, code word Krasnov, has activated shock doctrine, capitalist shock doctrine in American empire. Suka blyat. America will see what destabilization looks like. We are finally doing it. Moskova sends its regards, comrade.
Consumers.
As we prepare to chat about what the markets are doing, Donald Trump is actually on social media calling out China and saying that they played it wrong, quote, and that they panicked in response to his tariffs. But, you know, all of this obviously evident in the...
This tweet is funny. That's funny. Pre-orders for Nintendo Switch 2 in the U.S. will not start April 9th in order to assess the potential impact on tariffs and the evolving market conditions. $399, $659.99. Oh, man. In typical American fashion, we've outdone the USSR again, collapsing in an even stupider and dramatic way. It's only fair for the U.S. to do this after the USSR do it after the USSR did the same thing. Bro, I'm a Slav. Your accent, where is it? Oh, it is pretty awesome. It is pretty funny. I must admit that while all of this global collapse is happening, Trump is out fucking golfing. He just doesn't even care about the aesthetics anymore. He doesn't even care to make it seem like he gives a shit about anything. He is so in his nonchalant era that he doesn't even care about the optics anymore. He's like, yeah, what are you gonna do about it? It's the equivalent of walking around to the White House in a fucking bathrobe with your dick hanging out, you know? Yeah, he's like, yeah, collapse the global economy. Now I'm golfing. What are you going to do about it? Yeah, I hate my followers. I hate my favorite. I hate all the people that voted for me. I hope you all eat shit and die. Believe it.
global stock markets, which have tanked since that China announcement just a couple of hours ago.
The message we just had from the President of the United States just goes to show there is a lot of ego involved, and you do question how far tit for tat goes. Looking at global markets, let's have a check in. Dow Jones is down, I think it was 1,100 points so far today. It was down 1,600 yesterday. And we're seeing the steepest losses in stocks like Apple, Qualcomm, Tesla, Caterpillar, Nvidia. These are companies with big exposure to China. So you're starting to see some real pain for big American companies. And of course, that will impact portfolios for all sorts of investors and consumers, your average person in the United States. So we have the pain there. We're having steep losses in Europe as well. No retaliation from Europe yet. We're expecting to see more retaliation from other nations next week once all of this has been processed. But, you know, we saw Xetra DAX down around 4% before it came on air, FTSE 100, similar sort of levels, and the CAC. And that follows on from steep losses in Asia. So really another day of absolutely steep losses across the board.
And I think at times like these, when many are wondering what qualifies as a stock market crash, and are we getting anywhere close to that?
I was having this conversation with my team. When is it a plunge? When is it...
What is a stock market crash to begin with? You know, what is it really? Also a recession indicator.
The tank, and when is it a crash? You'll be thrilled to know we're nowhere near a crash yet. We have been tiptoeing towards tank in some markets, for instance, the Xetra DAX and the FTSE MIB in Italy, which is down more than 5%. We're not at a crash yet. But you have to consider the losses we've also had.
Yeah, what's Donald Trump doing right now? This is what he's doing. He's aura farming, okay? I said, not gonna lie, he's moving like a man who knows there won't be elections anymore. He's moving not like a real G, silent like lasagna, okay? He's moving around loud. He's moving around bigly. He's moving around in ways where he's like, yup, don't care. What are you gonna do about it?
Not just today and yesterday, but in recent weeks and recent months, as all the uncertainty, all the threats of tariffs has added up and really taken, you know, we're talking billions of dollars off stock markets. And looking at today, I had a note from Deutsche Bank that said the market is doing one thing: pricing in a global recession. And if this remains the way things are going, and if we see more retaliation, that is where we are headed.
Yeah, is there any way to avoid that at this point? Has the rot set in? Would there be anything that could reverse the markets in that direction at this point?
Negotiation and
the
US president backing down at this stage.
All right, Anna, thank you. Well, we have a panel of economists here to dissect.
He is moving like Erdogan. Erdogan, also known as Erdo-goat, okay? He is. He's Turkifying America at a rapid clip, dude. It is uncomfortable to watch. It's fucked up.
This CNN analyst
is going to be wearing this.
Is in New York, and economics professor Hasan Chang joins us from London. Great to see you both. Rana, I want to go to you first because we were talking about Donald.
Guys, I want to point out something that maybe some of you might have missed here in all of this chaos. We're only 3 months in, okay? This is month 3 of Burger Reich. Month 3. It's fucking insane.
Donald Trump being on social media there. Well, he's also been mentioning a couple of other things that I want to raise. He's been saying in the past now that his policies will never change and that this is a great time to get rich, richer than ever before. What do you make of those comments in this moment of chaos?
You know, there's 2 ways to look at this. The first way, and the scarier way, frankly, is that he's just shooting from the hip. There really is no global strategy here. And this is Donald Trump and his ego, as we've just spoken about. And I think that you can make a strong case about that. He doesn't, you know, assuming there's no coup in the U.S., he doesn't have a chance to get reelected. And so he may be less concerned about global markets this time around and U.S. stock markets than he was before. It may be about power and ego. The other case, the more sort of...
It's so funny trying to read the tea leaves here because it's like, it's incomprehensible. It's incomprehensible in many different directions because, like, it's coming from the right party. It's coming from the Republican Party. So it makes it even crazier. It's coming from a billionaire who has always maintained corporate profits above anything else. Part of the reason why the wealthy backed him, right? And it's not only chaotic, it is for no discernible purpose. And even on top of that, the fact that it's happening, the fact that it is these decisions are being made by the right-wing reactionary administration that is supposed to hail stock market gains as like the ultimate North Star makes this even dumber. There's no, I don't know. I can only try to understand why Donald Trump is doing the things that he's doing. But I think anyone that tells you with 100% certainty why he's doing this shit is lying to you. Okay.
There is a strategy here, Case, is that he really feels, and I know many on his team.
Like, ultimately, there's a couple top line agenda items for the Trump administration that he carried over from the first administration, from the first term as well. And that is, no matter what happens, like, these guys are massive China hawks. And this has been the American foreign policy since Obama, right? And Democrats have a different method of dealing with China. I think, like, Democrats want to do free trade around China and basically carve out, special economic zones in the Indo-Pacific region. You got the Trans-Pacific Partnership, things of that nature. Donald Trump has a different approach, but ultimately the direction is against China. They see China growing, they see China rising, and they want to combat it. They want to decouple our over-reliance from the manufacturing hub of the planet. And I think that hasn't really changed. Like, Obama did this, Trump did this the first term, Joe Biden continued it, and now Trump is doing it again. There are some differences in the methods, of course. That much is clear, because I don't think that, like, any Democratic administration would behave this way, or even other Republican administrations, I don't think, would behave this way either, in a way that, like, shocks the stock market in this spectacular of a fashion. But the goals are still the same. That is the number one top line approach here. That I am certain on. We want to decouple from China. We want to, no matter how painful it is, as a matter of national security, we want to no longer have this over-reliance on Chinese manufacturing. That is one thing that I can at least point to. Outside of that, like, the notion of fixing trade deficits and forcing the rest of the country, rest of the planet to, like, purchase American goods that we haven't even fucking manufactured yet, or the fact that we have no way of even manufacturing right now, that part is really stupid. That doesn't make any sense at all.
Team feel that the global trading system has needed an overhaul for some time. He wants to move overall tariff rates that the U.S. puts on other countries versus what they put on us closer together. Of course, that's now all been thrown up because we're in a complete trade war. I don't think these numbers are going to last. I do think that there's going to be some horse trading, and there already is some horse trading behind the scenes. But it is what I can say is that I think there's now a very good chance of recession, in part because trust has been obliterated. I also think we're in unprecedented territory. This is the biggest shift potentially to the global economic system that we've seen in half a century.
Yeah, and on that point, Hasan, that Rana was talking about, I mean, even if markets do recover a little bit, we do see these moves to negotiate. How irreparable is the damage that has been wreaked on economies globally at this stage?
Yes, last few days I've been trying to figure out whether there's some method in madness. I concluded that the method is wishful thinking. Because what is going on is that Mr. Trump thinks if he puts a tariff wall, foreign companies will first of all come and invest. They are not really going to do that on any significant scale because the U.S. industrial base has been run down for the last 4 decades, and you cannot rebuild it in a few years. Moreover, if they actually come in a major way, there'll be no tariff. Yeah? So he cannot have his cake and eat it. As for American companies, they are not going to.
This is my favorite, like, this is completely irrelevant to the point he's making. But my favorite thing that I've seen from like Korean and Chinese English speakers is the at the end of the question. And I want to put that in the way that I speak as well. I want to find a way to also speak like that, where you go, at the end of every statement, you go, or I think it's so cool. Fucking China, boo. You will never be Chinese. I'm literally white Chinese. Shut up, dude. Shut up. Don't make me sing Red Sun in the Sky again in perfect Mandarin. White boy, white Chinese sings Red Sun in the Sky in perfect Mandarin, shocks the world, okay? I do also say that. I already do that. I say, okay. But I should go, I say, okay, or you understand? But instead, I want to switch it to, yeah, after I'm done with every statement, I want to go with a That's right. The one true Asian. This Hasan guy is not only a top sheet says, this Hasan guy is not only a fake socialist, but a racist xenophobe as well. It's going to be real funny. It's going to be real funny when I actually visit China and this dude is not from Iowa, but instead actually Chinese. And he fucking assassinates me when I'm in Beijing or something. Like, he's just going to come up to me and be like, I'm top G and you fucked up. I was being entirely sincere. This wasn't a long bit that I was doing in your chat. I actually despise you. I do truly believe that you are racist and xenophobic. Billy, comment sections are praising your knowledge of China. Let's fucking go. It's happening. Oh, my dream. My dream, dude. It's becoming a reality.
To invest on any large scale, because the American financial system in the last few decades have become really parasitic and has been working as a mechanism to suck out the profit from corporations. So in the last 25 years, 90 to 95% of corporate profits have been given to the shareholders in the form of excessively high dividends and stock buybacks. And American companies do not have money to invest. So unless he does something about the financial system as well, all this extra profit generated for American companies by tariffs will be just leaking out of the system. So I'm afraid that it's all based on wishful thinking. And most critically, in the last couple of days, the United States has basically given up on being a country based on the rule of law. South Korea, my native country, signed a free trade agreement with the United States about 15, 20 years ago. And now that we are getting 25% tariff. So now who's going to take American commitment seriously?
Yeah, in many ways, it's a realignment of world order that's happening here, Rana. And it was interesting to see China's vice commerce minister come out earlier and say he wants to work with the EU to oppose protectionism, unilateral bullying. I mean, how expansive are the moves we're going to see here for realignment globally among trading blocs?
Huge. It's going to be huge. And this is... It really is an
Guy writes incredible econ books that are very accessible and Marxist. Wait, what the fuck? I went on a date with a woman on the left? No, you didn't. What is happening today? Why is everyone 1 degree removed from CNN today in my chat? What's fucking going on? Some of you guys have hooked up with the anchors. Others have cousins that are apparently CNN producers. What is going on? Why is everybody lying? And also, why are you lying in this direction? Like, what? You don't even get clout for saying that you're related to CNN in some degree.
Opportunity for China's game to lose now, and
these children want to work.
Oh yeah, this is what I was talking about. He goes
These people want to employ them. What is your problem? It's not like that. These people kidnap these children, use them as slave labor. Yes. So actually, in the 19th century, a lot of respectable people were in favor of child labor. Today, I do not know any person who says we need to bring back child labor to make America a truly free market economy.
Excuse me, they are doing that, by the way. So Ha Jun-chang is wrong. America is literally doing that. They are doing that, and it is a move that was spearheaded by Sarah Fuckabee Sanders, okay, initially, and is now being implemented in places like Florida as well. So that is actually happening. The market is being liberated, all right?
But that change in position came about because of political change, changes in our ethical standard, not because someone invented an economic theory showing that we shouldn't have child labor. Yeah, so the very boundary of market is politically determined. 200 years ago, you could buy and sell people, buy and sell children's labor services, narcotic drugs, and what have you. Today, you can't. And these changes have come about because of political and ethical changes. So when the very boundary of the subject is politically determined, you cannot say that we can get rid of politics. These children want to work. These people want to employ them. What is your problem? It's not like these people kidnap these children, use them as slave labor.
I think it's very cool when he says, huh? At the end of his statements. I'm not even joking.
And it'll be very interesting to see how Xi Jinping and how Beijing plays this. I would be a little bit skeptical about whether you're going to see some kind of complete new alliance between China and Europe, because what's going to happen now is that a lot of cheap Chinese goods are going to flood into Europe because they can no longer flood into the US. And are the Europeans going to like that? No, they're not. So this is where you start to get into that cascading sense of, oh boy, we really are in a global trade war here. Now, if the Chinese were to suddenly say, you know what, we're going to acknowledge that we've been dumping cheap steel, cheap EVs, cheap solar panels onto the world, and guess what, Europe, we are going to cut a new and more productive paradigm with you. Well, that would be very interesting. And
dude, the European Union is so cooked. They're the most cooked here, okay?